Hi everybody, it's been a while. For today's project, we are going to do a stacked pumpkin acrylic painting. This is a 4" by 9" wrapped canvas that I got at Michael's. I'm going to be using a sponge to do the background, and I'll tell you the items I'm using as we go along. I'll be using FolkArt multi-surface paints today, and I have a variety of colors which I'll tell you as we go along. Okay, for the background I'm going to do multi-colors, so I'm going to just slightly dampen the sponge just a little bit. You can use any kind of sponge, a kitchen sponge, something with some texture to it so you get a textured background. I'm going to dip, I'm using thistle green, citrus green, I think that's what I'll start with, and I'm just going to randomly dab the colors onto the canvas. You don't want to set pattern on this, just do it randomly. And again, I'm going to pick up some more paint and just dab. This is a pretty quick and easy way to do a background, and it looks really pretty. Now I'm going to pick up just a dab of yellow and dab it around. You want to make sure that you cover all the pieces of your canvas. I also do the sides of mine, but I'm not going to video that today. You can do that on your own. These sides are about 1.5 inches thick, but to make it look like you have a nice finished product, you do want to do the sides. Alright, so again, I'm just dabbing. So it's been a busy year for me. I know I haven't been on in a very long time. I lost one of my dogs and was devastated, but we recently added a new addition to the family, and I will post a picture of her on the screen so you can see her. Her name is Dixie, and she's a hound mix. I'm going to have her DNA done. I'd like to know what breeds she is. She looks like a dingo, and she's really cool looking. She's got the biggest ears that you've ever seen, and she's 7 months old and getting into lots of trouble, but she's really pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to take a blow dryer and I will speed it up so you don't have to listen to this. Okay, so now I'm going to take, you can use any writing utensil, you can use a pencil, you can use anything. Make sure your surface is dry, and you don't even have to do this. If you can just paint the pumpkins 3 circles if you want, one bigger than the other, starting with the largest on the bottom. But I like to do this so I have sort of a reference. I don't want to make the wrong shape accidentally. They don't have to be perfect circles because they're pumpkins. And then this one I'll stack on top, overlapping just a little bit. And then the third one I'll make a little bit smaller, again overlapping. Make this a little bit wider. Okay, and that's just like a rough reference of where I'd like to place the pumpkins. All of my paintbrushes that I'm using are well, they're all flat brushes, except I do have one angle brush. I'm using a 5/8 inch angle brush, a number 12 flat brush, a number 16 flat brush, a number 6 flat brush, and I'm also going to use a number 2 script liner to make curly cues and what have you. I'm going to dampen everything, all my brushes, before I use them, and then dry them off a little bit on a paper towel or a towel. I have a towel here. I have a paper plate that I'm using for my palette. I'm also using something called floating medium. It's made by FolkArt, by Plaid, and it makes the paint spread better. So you don't need it, but you might not need it on the canvas, but it can't hurt to have it on hand. Okay, there's no color to it at all. Alright, so to begin, we're going to start with the bottom pumpkin. Make sure I'm on camera here. Yes, I am. Alright, so I have my number 16 flat brush, and I'm going to pick up, I have Pueblo, and I have orange, And I am going to double load both of those colors. I'm just going back and forth, making sure I have a lot of paint in the brush. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the outside edge, come around. I'll do the same on the other side. Looks a little dark on the middle part. So I'm going to pick up, let me wipe off my brush a little bit. I got too much paint. Okay. I'm going to pick up a little bit more orange here. I'm even going to pick up a little bit of yellow. Okay. Because I want to see the segments of the pumpkin. So I want that inner part to be a little bit lighter. I'll restroke that. Still need more. Okay. And now I'm going to pick up more yellow and mix it in with my orange. Still looks dark to me. Pick up a little bit of white too. Second segment here. This needs more yellow. Just adding some more yellow next to the outer edge here. Like this. Going back over the outer edge with some more Pueblo. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing, except this time I'm going to add more yellow to the orange. Double loading. Adding a little bit of white in with the yellow and the orange. And that goes with the second segment. So I'm just kind of doing a C stroke on each side, you know, one backwards and one normal looking C. Now I'm going to just do a loop in the center. Bring it around and up, and then I'll fill it in. I'm going to pick up some yellow, and I didn't clean my brush. It's whatever's on there is what I'm using. Bring it all the way up to the other pumpkin. And as it dries, you can go back in and, you know, remedy anything that you think might need touching up. Make this one a little lighter. You want to be careful that you're not pulling the paint up though as you do that. All right. Now I'm going to rinse out my brush. I'm going to take my number 12 flat brush to do the next pumpkin. In the next pumpkin, I'm going to use, I have, I think it's real brown and white. If I use any other colors, I'll let you know. All right, So I'm going to pick up my number 12 flat brush, and I'm going to side load some white, and then the real brown on the edge. Just about, you want about 3/4 of the white and then 1/4 of the edge of the brush in the brown. And I'm going to do the same thing I just did for the last pumpkin. I'm just pushing down and then lifting at the end. Okay, double loading again, make sure I'm still on camera. Okay, more white, more brown. I'm going to do the second segment. I just do like a little scoop at the bottom. Okay, like this. And I'm overlapping the orange. You might want to make sure your orange is dry, but I didn't. We'll see if I live to regret that. All right, and then I'm going to do that loop for the center. You're going to press down, scoop. Oops. Fill in the center part of it. I'm going to actually make it a little bit longer on the sides. Let's see here. I'm going to add a bit of white in here. The one thing I like about about painting with acrylics is if you don't like what you painted, you can always go back and restroke it. There we go. All right. Let's add a little bit of brown here. Okay. All right, now I'm rinsing my brush again, and now I'm going to do the top pumpkin. I'm going to do the top pumpkin in turquoise colors, which are called Petina. That's the light turquoise color that I'm using, and the other one is called Aqua. Okay, I like how these colors complement one another. And this time, I think I'm going to use the same brush I just used. We'll stay with the 12. I might have to go smaller, we'll see. Okay. So I'm going to pick up a combination of Aqua, less Aqua than Petina. I'm also going to add some white into the Petina to brighten it up even more. Keeping the darker color on the outside, obviously. And more paint. Now I'll do the other side, same way. And a little more white in there. Segment. More white, more of a lighter color here. I'm just going over it, blending it better. There we go. Now on to the second segment. fall has begun, you guys. I am so happy. It is my favorite time of the year. The weather is just beautiful here. I live in northwest New Jersey near the Poconos, and the foliage is just beginning. Oh yeah, I gotta go lighter on some of these. And it is just gorgeous out. It's nice dog walking weather. There's all kinds of yard sales going on. I want to try some plein air painting. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's I recently got a portable easel that I can take outside, and I'd like to, paint some of the neighborhood. I live in the neighborhood that I grew up in. The house I grew up in is directly across the street from me. So it's kind of cool as I'm sitting in the morning having my coffee. Sometimes I'll look out and I can, like, so many memories just come rushing back. And it's a nice feeling. It's a very comforting feeling. And it's funny because growing up I couldn't wait to get out of my neighborhood, but I'm still here. I've moved away lots of times, but I don't know, this is home. And I like it here. Okay, so we're going to go over this middle part again. Put some white in the middle there. All right, and there's our pumpkins. Take the corner of my brush, and it probably won't matter. I'm just taking a tiny dab of the green because we're going to do our stem. I'll take a little bit of the thicket as well and see if I can mix a little together. Make it blend into the dark green there. That's good. Alright, you won't even see that. Okay, there's our pumpkins. Quick and easy. Now what I'm going to do is take the blow dryer and dry it. Okay, so I'm going to go silent. Okay, I see a couple little things that I'd like to restroke. I'm going to take, just for touch-ups, I'm going to try the small brush on that, my number 6 flat. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of Aqua and define these segments a little better. Petina without washing my brush. Add some of that onto the top pumpkin. Also want to touch up the next pumpkin, so I'm going to take a little bit of brown using the same brush. I'm just putting a little bit of brown on the corner. Too much water here, so I'm going to dab it on my towel. Go back and pick up a little bit more brown. And I'm going to define my segments. Brush off, and on the bottom I'm going to add a little bit more orange. The orange is very translucent, so you might want to put a second coat of orange over the top to give it more vibrancy. Going over the whole thing with just a little bit of orange. And then in the very center I picked up a dab of yellow without cleaning my brush. And I'm just putting it sort of on the top for little highlights. use the same brush, and we're going to do the stem on the top of our pumpkin, the very, very top. So I'm going to use brown for that to start. And I'm not going to go to the very top of the pumpkin. I'm going to go just about right there. Okay, and I'm going to make little points to each of the segments. And I'm going to go up. Make a little twist. Okay. Now I'm going to take a tiny bit of white while it's still wet. Now I'm going to take some more brown. I'm using the same brush. I'm going to take a little bit more brown, mix it with some white. I'd say more white than the brown. Got a little bit of blue in there, but it won't matter. Okay. And I'm going to take a little yellow, mix it with the brown and the white. I want to make sort of like a golden color that looks like hay. And you can use this brush, or I'll show you a different one you can use. You can use a round brush or your script liner. And what I'm going to do is make little bits of hay that are shooting out from under each pumpkin. Like this. Yeah, we're going to have to go brighter. And I'm just gently touching with the edge of the brush. I'm going between each of these pumpkins, just pulling. Rinsing my brush off. Now I'm just going to take yellow. Off my brush. Now I'm just going to pick up white. I'm just layering it over the top. On the bottom as well. Just pulling a little bit of white through the stem. Probably go back over that again. Perfect. I'm going to add a little bit more brown to that. I like the way it looks. When that dries, I'm going to go over it with some tan. Okay, now I'd like to add some leaves. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my number 2 script liner. This is just a long thin brush like this. I'm going to wet it. I'm going to dip it in water and then dip it in my brown paint. Okay, and I'm just kind of rolling it in the paint and bringing it to a point. I want to do more of a pointy tip on this. So now I'm going to take my angle brush. You can use whatever size, it depends on how big you want your leaves. I'm using a 5/8 brush because it's handy right now. And I'm going to pick up Thicket. I'm just going to load some Thicket on my brush. And some, let's do yellow on the tip of it, or on the, on the tip of it. The tip is the part that sticks out, and then the part that's shorter is your heel. I want to make it dark enough so it stands out against our background. And then on here, I'm just going to make some of these leaves like this. Needs to be darker. This one does. Okay, I'll just restroke it. Maybe another one here. Okay, you can put wherever you want. Maybe I'll put some down here on the bottom part. Coming out, you can't really see that. It's got to be darker. I'm out of my sap green, so I'm using Thicket. I actually like the sap green better. Just rinsing off that brush. I'm going to go back to my number 6 brush. What I want to do now is just take a little bit of the brown and white. You want it on the lighter side. A little bit more white. And I'm going to again add some more right in here. And there ends our project. These are great, like and say it's somebody's birthday, it's a nice gift to give in lieu of a card or with a card even. Don't forget to paint your sides. And the very last thing that we're going to do is sign it. I'm going to use some of the Aqua to sign this today. It's still wet, so I need to be careful. So I do my initials. I do initials DL. L is my maiden name, and since I've been an artist since I was a child, I always used this signature, and it never changed, and it never will. So sign it and smile, and thank you for joining me again. I'll see you soon.